Hello, everybody. It's time for another What If video. It's been a while, Wrestling What If, because last week was Free 16, and it got me thinking. What if Stone Cold Steve Austin never left the WWF? What if he had stayed? What if he never walked out, or he never took his ball and went home? That scenario. Let's see what happened. Now, but keep it pretty in tone with reality and keep the same wrestlers that WWE had around this time. I'm not gonna have WWE just suddenly sound like AJ Styles and put him in SummerSlam against Stone Cold and like that. Let's just go back to what most people don't even remember. They remember the Stone Cold Brock announced match for the King of the Ring, and they don't remember anything else. They don't remember the build up to that, which was he beaten Ric Flair about a week earlier before he left, with a stipulation that said if he had won, Ric Flair would have to become his assistant, which was going to lead to a storyline we've seen before, like with Brie and Nikki Bella, and I think a few other people. That's the one on top of my head, though, the Bellas. Bella Butler or whatever. But alright, let's go over the scenario here. So, in this one, Stone Cold does not walk and take his ball home, but WWE also does not book Brock Lesnar and Stone Cold Steve Austin on a random Raw in a match with zero build, zero storyline, in a King of the Ring qualifier, which doesn't even make sense because Stone Cold was already the King of the Ring 6 years earlier. He didn't need the King of the Ring, especially in a King of the Ring for a title shot. In fact, the match they put instead of that was Brock Lesnar and Bubba Dudley, who were already feuding. What a novel concept. So, on this Raw, I would actually have Stone Cold say he wants to whoop some ass, and more specifically, he wants Eddie Guerrero, who's been giving him some trouble lately. So the first thing he does, he brings Ric Flair out, and you could have Ric Flair like kind of dressed as a butler or something. He says, first of all, piece of trash, give me my beer. He gives him a beer, and he goes, I want you to give me Eddie Guerrero. I'm going to whoop his ass tonight. I'm going to stomp on my whole walk in. Rah! But then Ric Flair would say, well, I can't do that as much as I like to because Eddie Guerrero isn't here because he has called in and said he had a family emergency, so I'm getting that off. And Stone Cold says, why the hell did you do that? Can you call him back? Can you ring? And he goes, Ric Flair says, well, I can do that, but I don't think he'd be here even if he flew home immediately. I don't think he'd be by the end of the night, so you would have your match with him. Stone Cold isn't happy, but Ric Flair does give him a match at the King of the Ring with Eddie Guerrero. And in the meantime, Stone Cold can fight. Let me see who was on Raw this time. I'm trying to think. He gets a match against Stevie Richards. It's the best Stone Cold. Stone Cold just kind of feature match makes Stone Cold, right? He beats him. But at the end of the Raw, show, the end of the Raw, he comes to the ring. There's another segment with him and Ric Flair. They're having like a little thing. They can do some stuff. Do like the whole him as a billion Flair. And as it's happening, Eddie Guerrero decides to come out of nowhere, tries to sneak with an Austin, but he does hit him with a ring bell, but Stone Cold ducks, hits him with a Stone Cold Stunner, and just kind of beats his ass a little bit before the show ends. That kind of is the end of the Raw portion. Is like we did. I don't want to do every show, so we're just going to kind of skip ahead to the King of the Ring, Eddie Guerrero, and before the match, Stone Cold makes Ric Flair put an edict, a rule that nobody can interfere in the match, or they will be released. Not anything not released, suspended indefinitely, so they can't just be traded from one show to the other, basically. So that leads to Stone Cold and Eddie Guerrero. I feel like this could have been a really good match. They had the potential. Stone Cold, even though he wasn't in the best place mentally or physically, I feel like they could have pulled out a banger. They have their match, and I love Eddie, but I feel like this is something that Stone Cold should have won. There's really no reason for Eddie to go over here. He's going to be pushed in the future. There's like a big feud just to make a storyline with the two of them. And that leads to his next feud, which is the friend of Eddie and the guy who was teaming with Eddie and also kind of attacking him too, Chris Benoit. So, Chris Benoit Chris Benoit, immediately after the match with Eddie, Chris Benoit attacks Stone Cold. Have him give him a German suplex, because anyways, he's wrestled Benoit, he's taking those, so his neck should be fine. But he landed, so I'm taking a couple of Germans, and after have Stone Cold holds his neck, have him like the rest pull off Benoit. And that builds a little feud. And the storyline here is that Stone Cold's neck might be injured again. There's worry, and you could have Benoit say, well, I am the crippler, I don't care. And that's building the vengeance. We have one-on-one. Vengeance, Stone Cold. Vengeance, Stone Cold versus Chris Benoit. Poster Stone Cold's on the cover for, by the way. Vengeance. So, that's out of the way. And then it builds to SummerSlam. Now, this is where things get a little tricky. Because we need. So what we're gonna do here, change reality just a tad. Brock does not destroy Hulk Hogan in this reality. After him and Edge lose the tag team titles, after they lose them at the Vintage Paper, the same review, Hogan goes back to Raw. He's drafted by Bischoff because Bischoff likes Hogan. It makes sense. So he trades somebody, you know. No, I think he can leave. So he just straight up walks back in the Raw. He comes out the night after Vintage comes out. And he's doing a promo. He says he's happy to be here, and he says, you know, I really want to be here on Monday nights again. It feels great, and as much a great time I had to spend, and I think I can do better. And then out comes Stone Cold. You can start the feud there, the money feud that makes the most sense out of any match you can do at this point. Stone Cold and Hogan. And just have these two like cut promos in each other. They could do some good work. Hogan's never, in my opinion, never been a great promo, but he could definitely get the crowd interested. Stone Cold gonna be over here, probably buried him, but you know. And it builds to this is what it is. It builds to SummerSlam. Damn it. Stone Cold, Steve Austin, and Hogan. You know, just let these dudes go all out. Have a little fun match, and in the end, Stone Cold gets the win because he needs to get the win. Oh, also, I forgot to mention Vince. I can't skip Vince tonight. Yeah, he beat Benoit Vince. So he's on the street now. And this is building up to a point here. So, we just continue, and Unforgiven and it's No Mercy. He we start the World Heavyweight title still given to Triple H. Now, we don't make Stone Cold and Triple H immediately. That would be, most people think. No, we're going to do it a little different. Rob Van Dam still has a title shot at Triple H. Stone Cold is on the pay-per-view. He's going to wrestle. Looking at the roster we have, we look at the heels we have, I'm trying to think who would be a good opponent for Stone Cold Steve Austin. And really, the only guy that would make sense would be Chris Jericho, but not for the Intercontinental title. So we just make Ric Flair, the Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam does not lose the IC title with Jericho like he did in real life. He stays as the champion going against Triple H. He can lose the next night on Raw. Stone Cold fights Jericho. Just kind of a thrown together match. Maybe Jericho brags about beating him and won the thing now, so they have a little feud. It's kind of a placeholder match to just do something with Stone Cold. Because he's kind of worked with everybody on the card at this point. And so he beats Jericho. And after that, this leads to him starting another feud. This leads to him. I would actually have him go to SmackDown after this. He gets traded by Bischoff because at this point I haven't touched on the Bischoff thing in real life. When he came back as a co-general manager, he didn't get along with Bischoff. We could do the same thing there. We can make it where Bischoff doesn't agree. I mean, he already had problems with Flair, so of course he could have problems with Bischoff. And Bischoff, at first, is kind of okay with Stone Cold, but eventually he starts getting pissed off at him. Stone Cold starts raising hell about Triple H getting a World Heavyweight title shot. This does lead to a match on Raw, though, before he gets traded, where he takes on Triple H in the main event of Raw after Unforgiven for a World Heavyweight title, and he loses clean to Triple H. Because that should have happened. There's no reason it should have. Anyway, after he loses, he's told by Bischoff, he goes, thank you, Stone Cold, for cheering, but guess what? You've been traded now to SmackDown. So he goes, instead of Big Show, he's traded, by the way, this time. You can see where I'm going. So he goes, and that leads to the Hell in a Cell baby. The No Mercy baby. I'm used to being Hell in a Cell. It's been Hell in a Cell so long now. But it was No Mercy. No Mercy, where he's on SmackDown, and he takes on, who we have here is a kind of big name heel. We can't beat Kurt Angle, because we've already done that feud. So it kind of, the thing that's not going around the time, it's kind of hard to pick feuds, because he hasn't had there's not that many good heels left. He's a great wrestler. He's fantastic. You use him in any role. It's hard to think of a fresh feud. So I would give him, looking at the roster, you can't really use Kurt Angle because he's busy. Can't use, so who do we use? We use, this is really crazy jumping out the gun here. So I would actually have, as weird as it sounds, to have basically his first night on SmackDown. He comes out, he wins a throw-in to get a match against like Matt Hardy. He wins that. And then he is interrupted in his debut by a man who will be making a debut of a new character at this point. John Cena debuting the Doctor of Thuganomics. He busts a flow on Stone Cold. Stone Cold doesn't like that. And then we get Stone Cold versus John Cena. Now it's John Cena proto John Cena, prototype ass. But, he's Doctor of Thuganomics, so he's not prototype, but he's bare bones John Cena starting out. This might be jumping the gun a little bit, but there would be build up to it. You see, we're building it up, so it's not like it's going to come out of nowhere. Because I don't think SmackDown had many strong heels, to be honest. I mean, Eddie Guerrero was there. He already worked with Eddie. SmackDown 6 is kind of taking up all the people that would have been the top guys you need. You know, that's why they turned A-Train heel a few months later and gave him like kind of a push because they really needed heels. They didn't really have them. And it was a weird time. This is like the year that I really love in wrestling, but looking back on it, there is a big disparity between heel and face, big time, especially on SmackDown. There's just way too many faces, not enough heels. And for Stone Cold, it's like, well, he's worked with almost everybody on the roster. So unless you bring in new guys, you know, so that's why we're gonna have him go with John Cena. And they have, you know, they just have a match. I'm sure Stone Cold could get a really good match with Stone Cold. No, Stone Cold get a match with Stone Cold. Cena could get a good match with Stone Cold. They can have a good match together. And after the match, after the Hell in a Cell with Brock and Undertaker, Brock does not turn face. We don't get the Undertaker spec. Undertaker comes out and does his retirement. Not his retirement, but he cuts a promo where he's going to take a vacation to go see his kid being born whenever he leaves. Well, and then the show, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman just cutting a random promo. And then Paul Heyman says that everybody in the back is scared of Brock Lesnar. They're all afraid to face him. And out comes Stone Cold Steve Austin, because of course he does. And he says simply, I ain't afraid of nobody, you piece of trash. I'll stomp a mud hole in that son of a bitch and walk it dry. You may be the next big thing, but I am the toughest son of a bitch on earth. There you go. Your match. Your Madison Square Garden match. Maybe not main event, because maybe the Chamber's still main event. But your huge WWE Championship match, Madison Square Garden. Not the Big Show. Brock Lesnar and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now this would change the trajectory to some extent, because Brock Lesnar is going to win here and beat Stone Cold clean. He's going to retain. This is a Stone Cold start to lose a little bit. And Brock will actually hold it one more month than he actually did in real life to lose it to the Big Show. And then maybe Royal Rumble Kurt Angle does a double swap on the Big Show. And no, I guess what we could do, actually what I would do is like Brock suspended somehow. I think what we would do is Brock wins, but then he's suspended. And then we have Paul Heyman like book Big Show and Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle wins, and then so we'd have to trade for Big Show or whatever, you know. But anyway, so Brock, and at Armageddon, Stone Cold, he goes one-on-one with Kurt Angle. I mean, he's faced before, but this is basically just a little feud to kind of give them something to do. So I don't even know, was Kurt Angle on that card? I don't. Oh no, he went there without. Wait, so if he's face, no, he can't face Kurt Angle. That's right. I'm playing this out in real time. You can tell. He can't face Kurt because Kurt would be fighting for the world title. This is where it kind of falls apart a little bit. I guess I would actually have him take some time off. Yeah, I would have him take some time off of the Survivor Series. I would have the story be that he suffered an injury or something and say he took time off so he can actually get healed up. And this is eventually leading to what's going to be his last storyline, his last program. To Stone Cold Steve Austin's last run. One last one, OLR. So after the Survivor Series, Stone Cold is gone a bit, and he returns in the Royal Rumble, and it's even hyped up. Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to return in the Royal Rumble, and he's thrown out of the Royal Rumble by the person he's going to feud with, because he's going to go back to Raw. It's kind of a weird thing where you can hear back and forth a lot. It's going to be Raven. So Raven throws him out, but later on, he takes things a little more far. He attacks Stone Cold after he's outside. He gives him 3 DDTs, one on the concrete barrier. And this is the build up to a No Way Out match with Raven and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold, they have a little feud building up with Raven. A storyline that I think I've already done the Who Ran Over. I have to check that. Booker Man of Who Ran Over Stone Cold, and that made it Raven. I don't remember. But anyway, he basically would take this time to point out that he attacked Stone Cold because he reminds him of his father, who was a terrible alcoholic and beat him, and he's just the same as a disgusting man, and he hates him. He hates him for glorifying alcoholism and stuff like that, and being an abusive person and being a horrible abuser. And that builds the way out where Stone Cold and him have this. They can have a little fun, little hardcore match probably, and Stone Cold wins. And after he wins, we do the same storyline that we did in real life with The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Exactly the same, 100% the same. Like there's no real difference. So maybe we don't get the whole Eric Bischoff and Stone Cold Steve Austin rematch thingy they did, which was pointless anyway. Because why do a rematch or a pay-per-view match? It wasn't even really a match anyway. But there you go, and that would lead to Rock and Stone Cold at WrestleMania 19, the real match we had, and Rock wins again. He finally beats Stone Cold at WrestleMania. He wins, and that's it. That's basically the thing. You could even do the same storyline because you have you could do the co-general manager, all that stuff. All the stuff you could still do, in my opinion. This would be wonderful if this happened, like if he didn't take the ball and went home. And this scenario, I guess he would just talk to WWE about how stupid it is to book him and Brock on free TV with no build, no story, nothing, no real reason for existing, and how they could just write anything better. And it would build to eventually him fighting Brock in a big money match, as well as storylines and feuds we didn't get, like him and John Cena, even though it would be a very brief feud at the beginning of Cena's career, which could also fan the flames of, oh, well, Cena and Stone Cold will never have another match? We don't know. Stone Cold's retired, but what if, this sort of thing. Wrestling What If again. And also the feud, the brief little feud, the match we never got, him and Hogan, which I don't think the match would be as good, but the promo would be amazing. And that's about it. That's all I gotta say. I can't really anything else. But hope you enjoyed watching this. Have a great day.